I'm the chairman of the California Arts Council. California, this is such a scary statistic, I hate to even say it, but California has the highest dropout rates in the nation, next to Mississippi and Texas, which I found to be just a complete disgrace, and I don't know why that's not on the front page of every newspaper above the fold. I mean, how could California have dropout rates next to Mississippi? It's a stunning fact. On top of that, we have the highest incarceration rates in the world. 1 out of 30 Californians is incarcerated. And that costs you and me, taxpayers, $50,000 per inmate per year. And if you're on death row, it's $100,000 per inmate per year. To keep a kid in an LAUSD school, for instance, is $8,400. And there have been very kind of vanguard studies that have been mounting up over the years that show that arts education reduces dropout rates, reduces truancy, increases attendance, aside from the fact that it increases math scores, literacy scores, you name it, right? So, and it's a core subject deemed by the Federal Department of Ed and the state of California. So it's a core subject matter that is not being taught in the majority of our schools in California. And it's a college requirement for both the UC and the Cal State. So I started thinking, wait a minute, I'm paying taxes to support the California UC system, of which I was a graduate of UCLA, and the Cal State system, and my kids in public school can't get in because they don't get the 1-year arts ed requirement to apply. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's a disconnect here. So we started really tackling what are the systemic blockages to arts education in California, and that's pretty much a lot of the work that the task force is doing. And the California Challenge, or the mission statement of CREATE, was really to ensure that each student reaches his or her full potential by broadening California's educational vision, policy, and practices to promote innovation, economic development, and creativity. So we have on this task force, just so you know who's involved in it and how broad it is statewide, universities, museums, county offices of ed, nonprofits, legislators, NEA, PCAH, which is the President's Committee on Arts and Humanities, city departments of cultural affairs, charter schools, teaching artists, credentialed teachers, school districts, the California PTA, the California Alliance for Arts Education, CCESA, which is the statewide organization for school superintendents, the California Department of Ed, my agency, the California Arts Council, California Arts Advocates, corporations, movie studios, and strategic planning firms that are helping us with strategies such as the Metropolitan Group, TCC Helicon, the National Science Foundation, Spitfire Strategies. We have researchers all over the state. One of the most eminent, Dr. James Catterall, who just did the really groundbreaking research for the national, for the NEA and the National Council on Arts on how important it is for low-income English second learner kids to get this arts education, that it has a bigger impact on those kids than anybody else. So I think in one of the studies I saw, it was increasing SAT rates of low-income English second language learners by 100 points. That's a huge margin on an SAT, as you know that who have taken the SAT and have kids who are taking it. So this kind of led to, I heard about a guy, a doctor, a very kind of eminent economist at Stanford. His name's Dr. Russell Rumberger, and he did a very famous study called the California Dropout Project. So I got really pissed when I saw these figures about how high the dropout rate is in California and how high the incarceration rate and how they're directly related. So I looked him up, and I found, to my astonishment, that almost half, not quite half, almost half of California's dropouts are coming from 100 schools. And I thought, ooh, that's something I could wrap my arms around. You know, like that's something you could raise venture capital on and get corporations involved in. And so I started thinking, what if we put together a turnaround strategy? I mean, if you only turned around 50 of those schools, you'd cut the state's dropout rate by 1/4, which is billions of dollars. And there are many, many examples of schools that have done this in California that were failing schools that became arts integrated learning sites and are now the top performing schools in their districts. So I'm working with the President's Committee on Arts and Humanities on this because they are doing 8 turnaround schools this way nationally. So we're trying to coordinate strategy with them to do something like that in California. So that's one of our actionable items coming out of our task force. Here's some more really scary statistics for you. Did you know that in California and in Texas and in some other states that have very high dropout rates, the government of the state looks at 3rd grade literacy rates and projects the building of prisons? Yeah. So, California